Well, Razorback fans, you're taking on the Texas Longhorns in baseball starting today. But it's a little bit more than just a baseball game. It's a way of life for Razorback fans to hate Texas. We're going to talk about why that is here on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday, as we're going to have plenty of things to talk about. We'll get into a little Razorback basketball and some bracketology because it's just so funny and so absurd to talk about. We'll get into that, as well as something that I actually think is really good that the University of Arkansas does each and every year in the athletic department. But happy May 1st. We finally made it to the month of May. So lots of things to get to. But I wanted to talk about this in particular. I'm wearing a shirt that says Beat Texas on it, and it's in Razorback red. And Arkansas playing Texas starting today, the number one team in the country in baseball, is just something that I think a lot of people have looked forward to. There's a lot of good games and a lot of good series that Arkansas has had on their schedule. When it comes to their home schedule, though, it's been not too bad, especially in the fact that, hey, not only do you get Texas at home, but you also get here in about 3 weeks, Tennessee. The defending champs at home. But the Texas game was always going to be circled, and it always means a lot more. And I think back to this year so far, which is crazy. It's about to come to an end as far as the academic year and the sports calendar year for Razorbacks. And this has been the first year that Texas has been in the SEC. And I think that I'm a little surprised maybe by the timing that they've had, which you got to give credit to them. Like the fact that they were able to do what they did and get to the playoff and be the last team from the SEC standing in the college football playoff. Even in basketball, I know they weren't great, but they shouldn't have been as good as what they even were at times. Like they had one of the great players there with Johnson, and he was so good, Trey Johnson. And, I think that they got a good coach now, and they're probably going to get it going. And then in baseball, as much as I don't like the guy, Jim Schlossnagle was just, he's a phenomenal coach. And it's, a very controversial thing of what happened when he left Texas A&M to go to Texas. But it looks like at least Texas baseball is going to be around and here to stay and going to have some really great things going for it. So that's about all I'm going to do when it comes to complimenting Texas. Because anytime Arkansas plays Texas in anything, it becomes a lot more personal. It becomes a lot more angry, and some people may not understand why. I remember when I was growing up as a kid, I was in the SEC, that's all I know is Arkansas being in the SEC. But I always knew about the hatred that so many fans had for Texas. It was just an established order. And as a kid, even, I remember thinking, and I really believe it was the Cotton Bowl of 2000 when Arkansas just destroyed Texas. I think held them like negative 31 rushing yards, something crazy like that. But I remember that, I think I was probably, I'm trying to remember how old I was even. I was like 11 years old, 12 years old. But I was really starting to get into Razorback football and starting to understand it and starting to follow the players and everything. But I just remember the vibe that everything had surrounding that game. Arkansas had played in the Citrus Bowl the previous year against Michigan, had a better year, and that was considered to be a better bowl game. And there was excitement surrounding it, but then it was nothing compared to the Cotton Bowl against Texas in 2000, playing down there in Dallas. It just meant a lot more. You could tell, you could feel it. And that's what I sensed since that point in time, that it was always going to be there, and it never changed. Even though Arkansas and Texas didn't play each other a whole lot, they played each other sometimes in football and in basketball and in baseball. Sometimes it was in the regular season, but a lot of times it was in postseason. But they did play each other, and they did have some games to where they both, had some wins, had some losses here and there. But no matter what the circumstance was, something like a Cotton Bowl, something like the Texas Bowl in 2014, something like a midweek non-conference game in basketball in 2009, no matter what it was, no matter what the timing was, it was always Texas, and it always meant something. It changed things. It changed people's moods. It changed people's angst. It changed people's hopes and their feeling towards the season. It just changed everything. And it took me a long time to really start to grasp as to why. And we could sit here and talk about the history and the tradition of it all and everything. But I'm going to put it into perspective that maybe some of you will disagree with. Maybe some of you will feel differently, but this is just how I feel about it. Arkansas hates Texas, and they're always going to hate Texas because hating Texas is fun. Anytime you do things in sports and you do it over and over and over again, and you have a certain feeling as a collective fan base or as a collective group, you do those things because why? It's fun. Why do you call the Hogs in unison at certain times that everybody knows during games? It's because it's fun. Why do you go crazy, and when the band strikes up a certain song and you have a certain dance going to it? Why do you do that? Well, it's because it's fun. Anything in sports that you do time and time again, over and over again, and you have a certain feeling about those things over and over again, it's because it's fun. And it's weird to put it that way. I get it, because if you're talking about hatred is not something that should be fun. Let's just be real about it. It's hating something or hating some entity is not a fun thing, at least in theory, it shouldn't be. But hating Texas is fun. Hating Texas and all that they stand for is fun. And I think that that's a reason why a lot of people do hate Texas. We could get into the specifics about their arrogance, about how they think that they're God's gift to everything, or about how much money they have, or that terrible color that they have, or their obsession with themselves and thinking that that they just, if only sports matter is when they're good at it. And they think that they have just arrived and they deserve everything and entitlement. Like, we could go on and on and on and on and on about all those things. But none of those things would matter if it wasn't fun to hate them. It's fun to watch them struggle. It's fun during that stretch of football where they fired Mac Brown and they struggled. It was fun to witness that. Fun to see the coaching changes they had to make. Fun to see the embarrassment that they had where they were on national stage and everyone was like, oh man, is Texas back? And they never were. Like, that was always fun to make fun of them for. It was fun to see them fall short and get upset against teams they shouldn't have lost to. Like if they lost to Kansas, which they did. It was fun to see that. There's just something inherently enjoyable. And with that joy, it's like you don't even have to be an old head and someone who grew up in watching Arkansas and Texas and knowing the history and tradition to hate Texas. Like, I didn't grow up with that, but I hate Texas. A lot of it's been instilled in me. A lot of it's just kind of rite of passage as a Razorback fan, but it's fun to hate them. And I think it's also pretty fun where you have other fan bases of other schools that also like to jump in and hate on them. Very few schools are like Texas, where everyone hates them except for their own fans. I think Ohio State is one of those. Texas is one of those. If you want to throw in, maybe a random one here and there that people may not like for whatever particular reason, maybe Michigan's in that, but still, Texas is one of those that can get everybody on board and rooting against. Like, ask yourself, How many people have you talked to, run into, dealt with that are true fans of college sports that are not Texas fans, but then rooted for Texas in anything? I know nothing. I know no one like that. So it's always going to be that case. There may have been a sheer hatred for a long time among Razorback fans because of the games on the field, because of the interactions, because of the fact that in the Southwest Conference, you were the one odd man out school where you're the only school that wasn't in Texas as part of that conference, and the home office was there in Texas, and they got all the love and their corruption and everything. Like, maybe you feel that way. But nowadays, for the younger generations, there is some enjoyment about the hatred. And on top of all of that too, folks, it's never going to change because now Texas is in the SEC once again. And I give a lot of credit to Greg Sankey and to the SEC because what it looks like is they are going to make sure that Arkansas and Texas play each other in every single sport, every single year, as it should be. It should be those two teams going at it. But there's going to be a lot of horns down this weekend. There's going to be a lot of extra juice and anger and some absolute vitriol. There's probably going to be some lines crossed by some Razorback fans. I don't condone it now, but it is probably going to happen. But it all becomes part of it, part of being a Razorback fan and part of playing Texas in anything, and they're coming to town this week. So, point is, Arkansas hates Texas. They hate Texas before, they hate Texas now, and they'll hate Texas for the rest and the end of time. But the hatred always comes from different places. But the most incredible thing about the hatred is that all Razorback fans can unite around it because it's so much fun to do. And I really hope Arkansas takes care of business against them. We're going to talk a little basketball, bracketology. That's right, bracketology. I can't even say it right because it's just so absurd. Here in late April, early May, where does the Razorbacks fall? We'll talk about that and more. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? I bet you didn't. You can turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with the Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to go. Dive into hundreds of premium files, including EA Sports College Football 25, Call of Duty, as easily as you can stream your favorite shows. What if you could just jump into your favorite Xbox titles without needing a console in every room? Like, how nice would that be? Or how do you game when you're not in front of your main setup? Hotel stays, family visits, or even just for the bedroom? Well, that's what the Fire TV Stick 4K makes it possible for, where you can play from almost anywhere. And if you already have the console, a Fire TV Stick 4K device is affordable and easier with traveling and allowing you to take your or even your kids' games wherever you end up plugging in. So head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller is required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K second generation, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, which is first and second generation, and Fire TV Cube third generation. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Bracketology, man. I'm bringing this up. I was sitting back and laughing about basketball because even in times where it's slowing down, even in times where it's not as big as what it used to be, or as crazy and important as and intense as it once was, this is something that still is pretty funny to me, of just seeing way too early stuff, which I'm not one of those that get mad about it. Like, some people just get mad. They're how dare you put out bracketology? How dare you put out all these things because you don't even know. You don't even know who the teams are. You don't even know what the roster looks like for any of these teams. How dare you do this? And my output on that is just, it's content and it's fun. And that's kind of like what I like to talk about. But either way, Joe Lunardi, Joey Brackets, came out with his latest bracketology, or maybe his earliest bracketology. And it's funny because a lot of these teams still don't have finalized rosters. A lot of these teams are still waiting on pro prospects and everything, and Arkansas being one of them. But where he has them right now is he has them as a 5 seed. A 5 seed out in the West region, which really just pisses me off because that means it would be in Portland, and that's dumb. Not Oklahoma City, not St. Louis, not one of these close places, but Portland. Again, I know it's just a prediction, but still, it drives me up a wall. So, anyways, you would have this particular game. Sweet. So, okay, 5 seed. Let me ask you guys this. If you could skip the season, like if it was just like, hey, you don't even know what happened in the regular season, you don't watch the regular season, you don't even know about the regular season, my question to you is, would you sign up for a 5 seed right now? Like, would that make you happy as a 5 seed? Now, you don't know what you do with it. You don't know how far you go in the tournament, because we know that that's the most important thing. But truly, honestly, would you sign up for a 5 seed right now? And I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't. I see Kentucky's the 2 seed. That's stupid, but okay. Florida's the 3 seed. Tennessee's a 3 seed. Auburn's a 4 seed. Also got Missouri as a 6 seed. Bama's a 6 seed. Mississippi State is a 7 seed. Texas an 8 seed. Vanderbilt an 8 seed. Oklahoma 9 seed. Georgia a 9 seed. Ole Miss an 11 seed. And then Texas A&M was one of the first 4 out. So you've got 13 teams, according to Joey Brackets, making the tournament. Arkansas being a 5 seed. That puts Arkansas as the 5th highest seeded team out of the SEC. I'm not taking it. I'm selfish. I want more. I want something better. You know why? Because Arkansas, for 3 straight seasons, I'm not complaining about the Sweet 16 finish at all. I'm not complaining about it 3 years ago. I'm not complaining about this past year at all. So do not misconstrue what I'm saying. I am just saying, for once, I want to have a fun regular season on top of a fun postseason. Fun postseasons trump it all. And I don't care how you get there, as long as you get there and you go far. But just once, I would like to have a regular season that goes swell, where you're a team that's one of the best teams in the SEC from beginning to end. You are a team that's constantly in the top 15. You are a team that people are filling out brackets and whatnot, and they're like, man, Arkansas at that 2 seed or Arkansas at that 3 seed looks like a force to be reckoned with. I want to have that just once. It feels like it's been so long. I mean, Arkansas's had a losing record in SEC play for 3 straight seasons. And how crazy is it that they've had a losing record for 3 straight seasons, yet made 2 Sweet 16s? Make that make sense. But I'm not signing up for a 5 seed. I'm not just taking that on a whim and saying, that's fine, let's do that. We'll be fine. Don't care about anything else. I mean, yeah, sure, I'd take it over the 10 seed that Arkansas had this past year. But I just want to see and have a regular season that goes well. And we still don't know what the official final roster even looks like. I mean, we're waiting on the Carter Knox thing. I still believe, folks, there's going to be another player in the mix. I still believe there's going to be somebody else that gets added. It's just a gut feeling. There's going to be somebody else. And if they get Carter Knox back and they're able to add some other piece that gets people excited, then the expectation is going to be there. It's going to be there no matter what, but it's really going to be there for me if they end up adding that. So utilize it, do something with it, and make the regular season great. Make it enjoyable. Make it to where it's not a constant sitting here on this podcast and being like, this team, I don't know, man, they're bad. Like, what do we do? It's okay to lose games. but just don't make it miserable. That's all I'm saying. Don't make it miserable. But nah, 5 seed, too low in my opinion. Way too low. All right, we're going to talk about something that I actually want to give some kudos to the Razorback athletic department for, and something that they do every year that they need to continue to do. But we'll get to that in a second, so stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, you ever check into your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Well, between dining out and online shopping and entertainment, it's easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over all of your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you start building your wealth. Instead of juggling all these multiple apps to be able to have all these different things to help you out with your money, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even set long-term plan goals. And when you're managing your money with your partner, it's smoother than ever. You can track and share it in personal accounts and set goals and stay on the same page without all the stress to go along with it. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for $50 off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I'm someone who is very open about, some things that I like and I don't like when it comes to the University of Arkansas Athletic Department and some of the stuff that they do or they don't do to appeal to fans and appeal to everybody around the state and to the common fan and everything like that. I was critical of the autograph session, for instance, being canceled for the spring game. But there's one thing that was officially announced and that, again, I really like. And if you haven't been a part of this or if you haven't had a chance to check it out, I would recommend it. It's called the One Razorback Roadshow. And they do this every year where they go through it's a 4-day, 8-city tour around the state on May 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. And they go to different places, not just, Fayetteville, but they go to various places throughout the state. And they have a schedule going on right now. So what they're going to do is that the lunch events, they have lunch events and then evening events. So that way they can cover as many cities as possible. But on May 12th, the lunch event will be held in Bentonville at Brothers Meat House, which I've been there. Awesome place. And that's going to have Hunter Yurchek, Sam Pittman, Kelsey Music, and Jordan Weaver. So that one's going to be a pretty good one. Now, the evening event is going to be in Batesville, which is going to have Hunter Yurchek, Sam Pittman, and Kelsey Music. And then May 13th, for the lunch event, you're going to have that in Searcy with Hunter Yurchek. And then on May 13th, you have it in Memphis, which I thought was pretty fascinating. But Memphis at the Ghost River Brewery and Tap Room. That's going to have Hunter Yurchek, John Calipari. I wonder why that's in Memphis. And Coach Kelsey Music. Then May 14th, it's going to be in Stuttgart, where at Open Season Sports Bar and Grill. That's going to be where Athletic Director Hunter Yurchek will be for the lunch event. And then it'll be in Little Rock on May 14th at Fassler Hall, where you'll have AD Hunter Yurchek, John Calipari, and Kelsey Music. And then on May 15th, it's going to be at Hot Springs at Oaklawn's Event Center with Sam Pittman. And then that's the lunch event. And then the evening event will be in Conway at Rogue Roundabout, also featuring Sam Pittman. So again, it's going to have a public reception. Fans can hear from the coaching staff. They have food and soft drinks, take part, and they also have a cash bar. They have prizes, win game tickets, sideline passes, autographed events, all of that stuff. So here's the thing is I think that stuff like this is really good. It's good for the school and for the coaches and for everybody involved to go and visit various parts of the state and promote Arkansas. Could they do more? I mean, sure. I mean, all of us could do more, but this is something that I've been to a couple of them and they're really good. And I do think that it's important to go to these cities that may not get all the love or may not get a lot of the attention when it comes to the Razorbacks and the school and the everything, and just reach out. And it's a good way to talk. It's a good way to meet. And if you have ever hopefully, I'm sure he'll really love me for saying this, but it's also a good spot that, hey, if you got some true issues with or any fair criticisms or questions to ask Hunter Yurachek, the athletic director, this would be a great opportunity to do so. I'm sure he'd be welcoming of it. But either way, if you have a chance to go, I'd recommend going, but should be a good time. And it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But either way, appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Nabors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. Keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.